So I finally shot the 97BE after a year and a half. And before I went to shoot it, though, I decided I'd check the bore, and here's what that bore looks like. You'll see some copper and some carbon. Some of the carbon looks to be pretty thick, but copper is pretty thin in the grooves. But if you look at it with this mirror at a 90-degree angle to the bore axis, it makes things look a lot worse than it really is. So anyway, this is what the bore looked like. I was really going to be interested in seeing how it shot. And I'm trying to rotate this thing a little bit here. Goodness, I can't believe I let this trigger finger go this long. A little solvent, a little brushing, I'll have it cleaned up in no time. So we go back down the barrel, and doesn't appear to be too much corrosion, but it may be covered up by the carbon. So not sure. Now this was cleaned pretty thoroughly with a brush and solvent, brush, solvent, patches, brush, solvent, patches. As good as I could. Probably spent an hour or two on it, so it was pretty bad when I started. I think. I say pretty bad. The gun was shooting fine when I started. So I'm going to look at the end view now and show you what it looks like. This is just with the mirror removed from the borescope, and just moving the borescope, trying to keep it centered in the bore all the way down. And you get a little better idea of what it's like, but the lighting affects what you see here. And this will become evident when I accidentally use my finger as a reflector in the end of the barrel. And kind of shows how shiny the bore really is, which is what you see with your naked eye. And then we'll go back through the barrel, and again, without any reflector, it makes all the scale that looks pretty bad. But this barrel actually shot real well. Here's a 50-yard group. If you look at the little squares in the center, you can see I was able to get a pretty good group at 50 yards from a rest. Then I went ahead and shot the gun at 100 yards, and here's 10 rounds. 5 of them make a really good group. So I made a couple of changes to the borescope after I got home. I modified the mirror attachment and changed the angle, and I added a reflector at the end of the barrel, which is nothing but a jag with some masking tape on it. And when I bent the mirror down some, you can actually see the mirror image and the axial image at the same time. And with that reflector in the end, it makes it where the material that's left in the barrel is not as exaggerated as it is when you don't have that reflector in there. So this barrel is, I ran a couple of patches through it and a little solvent just to get the loose carbon out of it, but if anything, it deposited a little more carbon in the barrel and a little more carbon, and a little more copper in the barrel. But it really looks pretty good. If you look at an end view, which we'll show you here in a minute. So there's my fancy reflector, and you can see that the material in the grooves is pretty shallow. Probably should be removed, but the gun, like I said, the gun shot pretty darn well. So I'm not too concerned about this amount of stuff left in the barrel having a significant effect. Now what you saw there was me moving the reflector. So I'm pulling the borescope out of the bore a little, and then I moved the reflector down the barrel as I moved or right after I moved the borescope down the barrel. But this works really well. I'm going to probably try to refine this a little bit. There I go, I moved it again. And I'll probably clean this barrel a little more, see if I can get a little more stuff out of it. But I'm not sure I need to in order to make the gun shoot well. The gun shot well anyway, in spite of the barrel really being fairly dirty as viewed from a borescope. So this was good news for me. I looked at the bore and wasn't sure what was going to happen.